You know, I don't know. I don't know if I'd call myself aggressive. I'm just trying to win a Super Bowl. That's what I'm trying to do.
He's aggressive.
So then Omar Khan, which people are calling the con artist because the deals that he makes maybe with the Chicago Bears for a backup quarterback is changing things up, bringing in some electricity. Not only investing on the defense side of the ball, but changing the quarterback room in its entirety. Just 2 years removed from taking a quarterback in the first round, that guy's sent out of town. Yeah. Not ceremoniously. Justin Fields is the newest member of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Back all the way in 2001, the Pittsburgh Steelers hired Omar Khan to serve as their football operations coordinator, and he served that role into 2011 when he was promoted to director of football administration, and then in 2016 he was promoted to vice president of football and business administration. And then boom, one random day, Omar Khan in 2022 becomes the new GM of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And since then, the rest is history. And it all began that first season. Omar Khan pulled off a highway robbery, a deal that would go down as one of the biggest fleecings of all time. Back in 2022, there was no deal that was more impressive than this one by Omar Khan. A second-round pick by the Pittsburgh Steelers back in 2022, Claypool looked really good in his rookie season. But after that, the man fell off the face of the earth. Couldn't do anything, right? And after an underwhelming start to 2022, people thought, there was no way the Steelers are going to be able to trade Chase Claypool after their lack of effort, the criticism to his play style. Nobody thought they were going to get anything for Chase Claypool. But not only do they get something, Claypool was dealt to the Chicago Bears for a 2023 second-round draft pick. Yeah, not a third, not a fourth, not a fifth, not a sixth, not a seventh, a second-round draft pick. It turned out to be the first pick in the second round because the Bears had the worst record in the league at 3-14. And that pick eventually became Joey Porter Jr., who looks like he will be a key piece to this defense for the foreseeable future. A guy in Joey Porter Jr., whose dad was, really established here in Pittsburgh. Joey Porter himself, the linebacker, who was nasty over here in Pittsburgh. And they ended up getting Joey Porter Jr. because of Omar Khan trading Chase Claypool for a second-round draft pick. In this video, we're going to break down the emergence of Omar Khan and how he has turned the middle-of-the-pack, Pittsburgh Steelers team. They're back. They're back in contention, and for the first time in a while, they look like they could be the best team in the AFC if everything goes as planned. And I'll tell you one thing, Omar Khan has been nothing but amazing ever since becoming the GM, and this might be the smartest thing the Pittsburgh Steelers and Art Rooney ever decided to do. Now, before we get any further into the video, before we jump into all the other deals that Omar Khan has made, do me a big favor, hit the like button just so we can get this video out to more Pittsburgh Steelers fans around the world, but also, more importantly, subscribe if you're new. It is free, it costs nothing to subscribe, and we're going to be covering the Steelers for the rest of the season. The drafts, post-drafts, minicamp, rookie camp, training camp, everything you guys need to know about the Pittsburgh Steelers, I got you guys covered, so make sure you guys join the family. And with that being said, let's dive right into this video. Coming into this year's offseason, changes needed to be made. And the one guy that was going to be responsible for that was Omar Khan. And he was just waiting to pounce this offseason. Last year, they ranked number 28 in points per game, number 25 in red zone scoring, 27 in touchdowns per game, also ranking pretty poorly in every single passing category there is, right? Not only that, but they could never get their run game going the way it should have been. With Jaylen Warren, Najee Harris, do expect that run game to be dominant. So the first thing they do is bring in Arthur Smith. Now, to start the offseason, this was one of the biggest moves for Omar Khan in the Pittsburgh Steelers. Arthur Smith directed one of the NFL's most potent offenses back in 2019 and 2020 with the Tennessee Titans. The Titans finished fourth in total yards in 2020 with running back Derrick Henry rushing for more than 2,000 yards. And quarterback Ryan Tannehill threw over 33 touchdowns and just 7 interceptions. Now, you're talking about a backfield with a guy like Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren who have yet to explode out the scene. I mean, I know what Jaylen Warren can bring as a playmaker with the ball in his hands. I know what Najee Harris can bring. I think those two guys are going to be nasty with Arthur Smith. They also bring in Cordell Patterson. He's back with Arthur Smith. But also, Russell Wilson was one of the best quarterbacks in terms of touchdown to interception ratio last year, and I think he's going to get the most out of playing under Arthur Smith. Now, not only was Russell Wilson one of the biggest steals to pair up with Arthur Smith for basically, a deal that was record-breaking, but not in the bad way. In the good way, they basically paid him nothing. But Omar Khan decided, I needed to go out there and make some more moves. Now, let's talk about the domino effect of trades and how this affected the Steelers today. Now, a couple of years ago, before Omar Khan became the GM, back in 2021, they took Kendrick Green in the 3rd round, right? Never really found success as a rookie. In 2022, the team moved Green to guard after signing veteran Mason Cole, but Kevin Dotson ended up beating him out. In 2023, Green continued to struggle, and they looked like they were going to have to release him for nothing. However, Khan came out of nowhere and turned a likely cut candidate into a draft pick, trading Green to the Texans for a 2025 6th rounder. Now listen, that wasn't anything crazy, right? Omar Khan made a deal that, maybe was just nothing. However, turned into this man right here. Now that is the crazy thing. You remember that 6th round pick that they traded, Kendrick Green for? Well, that comes into play here. The Steelers had major quarterback questions heading into 2024 after starting Kenny Pickett threw 13 touchdowns and 13 interceptions in 25 games. Pittsburgh added Russell Wilson in free agency, but Pickett wasn't interested in competing with Russell Wilson. Wanted to take the, kind of the coward way out, if you could say, wanted out of Pittsburgh. Now they need a quarterback. They need a backup. And Khan traded him to the Philadelphia Eagles. However, with Wilson as the lone quarterback, the Khan artist needed to go out there and pick up another QB, trading that 2025 6th round draft pick to the Bears for Justin Fields. Guys, this is another steal. Justin Fields is a guy, in my opinion, who has nothing but talent, skill, and oozing with potential. I mean, if you heard Mike Tomlin talk about Justin Fields, the man's got potential. You talk about adding him with a guy like Arthur Smith, guys, it makes perfect sense. They also added Patrick Queen, and this man right here is going to be an absolute difference maker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers have been trying to replace linebacker Ryan Shazier since he suffered a career-ending spinal injury back in 2017, and they have mixed and matched a lot of different players since then. But Khan finally said, you know what? Let me go out there and let me make a difference. Patrick Queen is a guy who was an all-pro linebacker last year, 1st round pick back in 2020 for the Baltimore Ravens. Yes, the Ravens. Now, he has been one of the most productive inside linebackers in the NFL over the past 2 seasons. Over 250 tackles, 8.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, 3 interceptions, and 12 pass deflections. Some believed Queen could have received a deal that reached up to $18 million. However, Omar Khan landed the 24-year-old all-pro defender for only $13.6 million. A steal. Now, interestingly enough, the Steelers and Omar Khan didn't stop there. They wanted to add more to this defense, bringing in Dante Jackson to replace Patrick Peterson, and they also signed Deshaun Elliott, a guy who was formerly of, obviously, the Baltimore Ravens, a guy who is a thumper, can hit hard, and can play a bunch of different roles, but also loves the game of football. And these guys that they brought in, Patrick Queen, Deshaun Elliott, Dante Jackson, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Van Jefferson, Quez Watkins, right, Cordell Patterson, all of these guys have one thing in common. They care about the football aspect over the money aspect. These guys want to win football games. They're bringing in dogs, not guys who just care about the clout. And that is the main ingredient to success. And they're starting to identify what the blueprint really looks like here in Pittsburgh. And Omar Khan is locked in. He said earlier, listen, I might not be aggressive, but I'm aggressive, okay? Now, what that means is, listen, he's going to do whatever it takes to win this team a Super Bowl. And at the end of the day, that is the only thing that matters. Now, we are just a few weeks away from the NFL draft, and Omar Khan is setting up the absolute perfect draft strategy. What Omar Khan does next is very important. Obviously, there's a couple of holes that they need to fill. Maybe at the wide receiver position, you have George Pickens, Van Jefferson, Quez Watkins, and Calvin Austin, a guy who I think can really break out next season. But there's a lot of options, right? There's a ton of offensive line talent. Amarius Mims, the tackle, bringing starting, day one right tackle. Looks like Broderick Jones is going to head to the left side of the formation. But starting right tackle could be a need. A corner to replace Patrick Peterson, right? You got Joey Porter, Dante Jackson, Corey Trice coming back off injury. Maybe need a corner. But other than that, there's not too many big holes. I would say wide receiver, DB, and offensive line. Guys, Omar Khan has done such a good job making sure this team is deep, they're talented, they're ready to win a Super Bowl now and in the future with Justin Fields as a backup quarterback. You have the now, you have the future, and you have the depth to carry your team the entire way. Not only that, but the Steelers also ranked as one of the best defenses in football last season, and to be quite honest, this team is just one step away from winning a Super Bowl. And if Russell Wilson plays the way we know he can play, guys, the Steelers are the scariest team in football, and it's not even close. Do me a big favor, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family. What Omar Khan has done will never be created again. And I don't think anyone is realizing what he is doing, but once the season starts, once we get into the nitty-gritty of the season, we're going to know the Steelers got a lot better, and their time is now.